German. Yeah, I know. Nobody could have predicted this. Nobody could have ever expected this could have happened. I don't think anybody thought this was going to be a random guy. German police have just shot dead the Berlin terrorist who rammed a car into the Pride parade in Berlin. That's right. This was an Islamist terrorist. I said yesterday, I was like, guys, I don't know really what it was. It could have been anything. I said that, also, what do you think the odds are, right? It turns out that averages sure seem to play out the way you think they do, right? And and also apparently they already even knew who.
So, another one.
This guy was a 21-year-old from Lebanon. Yeah, I think he was from Lebanon or so. It wasn't from Germany, I'll tell you that. And so was not a German. So we're gonna look at that, right? Why the lose the first 5 minutes of your stream is because you're allergic reaction of outside and you're clearing out. I usually just wake up. I mean, usually, how many of you guys have like congestion in the morning when you wake up, and then after you kind of get through the day, and like that people talking this minutes before I move on to like the actual video, right? Is that what the internet does is it gives people the idea of a false consensus because you're inside an algorithm, you're inside a community of people that all think the same way that you do, but you can go outside of that and you see that there's huge and this goes both ways. It goes all I'm saying is that basically there are a lot of people out there that vehemently disagree with you that are in your country. You can't blame all of this on, it's not Israel, it's not the Jews, it's not the EU. It is the actual people in your country that there are not enough of them to
It's the actual it's the actual people who are raping and beheading.
create a critical mass of making a change. And I think that fundamentally, a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that because in acknowledging that, it is a profoundly ridiculous thing to say that all of these people somehow can't see the problem that's in plain sight, right? They are refusing to see it. They don't want to look at it for whatever reason. And that bothers a lot of people. They don't want to do that. And I think left wing people have the same viewpoint, but just from a different direction. And so they don't want to look at, the fact that there is a huge propensity of these people that do exist that think totally different than that, right? So Le Pen to be favorite to be French president, yeah, but like I mean, Marie Le Pen, like I mean, if like when is she going to win the election, right? Is it in 2 or 3 years? What is her solution for solving this? I have no idea. So like really, and also like a lot can change between now and then. And so we're going to have to wait and see, right? I mean, obviously, like what would I do? I just always vote for the most extreme candidate every single time that I think is going to win, right? That's all I do. And every single time it's like you're moving things a little bit closer to the other side. And the reason why I do that is because I actually don't think that there will be a breaking point that these people get to where they acknowledge that they are wrong. I don't think that it will happen. I think that they would rather die than acknowledge that they are wrong. And how do I know that? Because think about how many women stay with ex-boyfriends.
Yeah, it's Stockholm syndrome. And as loud as I yell it, man, you people are sacrificing your children to these invaders. It's not about your life. It's about your children's life. It's about your grandchildren's life. It's the. Do you want your children to live in a Christian country or a Muslim country? It's just look what comes with Islam. I mean, maybe they live among peace of themselves, but they don't love Christians.
That beat the shit out of them constantly, and then eventually the ex-boyfriend just kills them. Meanwhile, this woman has every person in her life telling her, you need to leave this guy, he's going to hurt you, he's going to kill you.
Okay, so it's a breaking story.
Yeah.
There are going to be things that are going to come out and change throughout the life of the story, average. Yeah. So the suspect is an Islamic extremist. That's their suspect right now. That's what I read.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not going to say anything about the rest.
That's right. I saw a brief thing about this. The German liberal gays were upset that it turned out to be a Muslim man. They were praying it was a Christian man so they didn't have to blame the Muslims again. But again, Christians are not killing gays. Maybe that was a little bit of a past thing we had in like the 70s and the 80s. But for the most part, that's not happening today. By Christians, by whites, or whatever the point your finger at the demons. But this is an ideology that says to kill these people.
Rest of the Muslim population because of actions of this one person. But what I can say is the people who were celebrating about this were all white men, young white men.
Well, because I think the reason why a lot of young...
I'm not celebrating. I find this absolutely fucking disgusting and completely avoidable.
White guys celebrate this is because it's another point on the graph that shows that there is a level of incompatibility with left-wing ideology and Islam. And I think that it's really, I mean, obviously, like, there's a spectrum of every religion, but especially with radical Islam, you see a lot of these terror attacks that are happening, and you do, and they don't accept gay people. They don't accept this bisexual stuff. They don't like pride parades. They're not fans of being trans to the large extent. So what are we doing here? How is it that you have found... there is again an unholy matrimony between Islamic extremism and left-wing politics. And the funny thing is that left-wing politics goes against everything that Islamic extremism goes for, and then Islamic extremism goes against everything that left-wing politics goes for. But
right, but they both have agreed consensus that Christians, and specifically white Christians, are the ones that need to be exterminated. This is our real enemy. It's between gays and liberal women and the Muslim extremists.
The only difference is that a lot of these left-wing people don't go out driving cars through crowds. That's the difference. They're in denial. Well, they're not in denial. The reason why they do...
No, the left... You can argue about the trans shootings and things, but for the most part, the left is pretty peaceful. But I don't see them, and against these Satanists, these liberals, the extreme lefts, I don't see them batting an eye. I see them celebrating when, the attacks on the right occur.
This is that Islam and these groups of people, right, like from Middle Eastern countries, they represent being counter towards the normal, like European, white, Christian, Western culture. So it's not necessarily that they support these people fundamentally. They just support them as an opposition to what they dislike. So that's the actual reason why they do it. They're anti-government. I don't think anyone really celebrated that. I think that, celebrated is again, you can go back and forth about the word. I don't want to argue about semantics. I think that people were, I don't know really what the word is, validated to see that, this is another one of these, religious terrorists, right? I think that's clearly what it is. They think the enemy of my enemy? Yes.
With crosses in their profiles. Because we've all seen it. We've all seen how you guys react towards gay people and how you wish harm on them constantly. I get constant hate on my videos, especially about trans people. You're not going to hide behind another scapegoat group and pretend that they're actually the violent ones when it's you. You hold the same exact...
See, if it was up to me, I'd take people like this girl and I'd send them to one of the countries that kills gay.
So, no, the Christian idea is that, again, we acknowledge the sin, we tell the truth, and the truth, in this person's eyes, is violence. The truth is never meant to be violent. The truth is truth. But the truth is, like Asmongold says, if she went to Palestine, Pakistan, Iraq, Iran, they would, one, look at her. I mean, initially they would probably want to rape her, but if they find out she's bisexual, you know, homosexual, she won't wear the burqa, she's dead. She's dead.
People, I would. I'd send them over there. I'd say, okay, you don't like the mean comments? That's fine. You're going to go to Afghanistan now. That's it. And you're not coming back. Yeah, now you're going to go over there. You don't like it? All right. All right. Well, you know, that's what you get. They wouldn't even take him. I think they'd take him. And yeah, so anyway, she going to see the truth then? It's an hour. Dude, 1 hour and she's healed? Yeah, everything's going to be all better.
So this man who did this attack did. And you're trying to distance yourself from it. And you know why you're trying to do that? Because you're ashamed. And you should be.
This is her getting, so basically a radical Islamist went out and killed a bunch of, or injured 30 people and killed one person. And, you know, this is like a terrorist, but the real people who.
He drove a truck through a gay parade or gay pride event, got out of the truck, you know, ran through people, got out of the van or the truck, and then tried to attack them with a machete, screaming Allah Akbar. It's one of those things that we've seen many times before, and it continues to happen.
Who are at fault are people like white people with crosses in their bio. What do you think radical Islamists would do if you told these people are their closest allies in the West? Well, this is the funniest thing, right? Is like, I see this. How can this be real life? Oh my God.
The irony, I wear the helmet. The helmet is a defensive stance. I'm not calling for violence. I'm calling for the truth and a defensive stance. Build our walls. Enforce the border.
So this is one of the...
And maybe bring back morality, ethics.
Look, this is the easiest consent banner I have ever set up on a...
You know, traditions, culture. Build that. Be defensive. Build your castle.
Something like this is AI, right? I mean, you would assume something like this is AI.
It almost looks AI just because how like unproportionate the pieces are.
Oh my God.
This is an illness. What is these people are like alien. This is not the human race.
Oh my God. Wow.
Are they all in wheelchairs because they're disabled, or are they all in wheelchairs because of mental illness? I don't want to feel bad, you know, getting this wrong.
I don't even know what to say.
Some of it might just be clear obesity.
Wow. Jesus, guys. Well, there you go. Man in the making. And this, I guess this means that like you are taking some sort of hormone or something like that. And I'm assuming the T is, testosterone or trans. I mean, it's the same thing really in the context. So there you go, right? And Shrinka, aren't these people crazy? Oh my God. So we need to mass support the third world and then deal with these people as soon as possible. Looks like the character creator's bugged. Yeah, this looks like a new skin from Suicide Squad, right? And yeah, all terrains possible pretending to be street tires. Yeah. And do you think what's wrong with the EU can lead to civil war within a country? No, I don't really think it'll lead to a civil war because one side of this war is just completely unequipped for a civil war. Like,
Yeah, I had to think for that. One side of the EU would not be equipped for the Civil War. Which side would that be? I would believe it's the unarmed British people. But with all the moss being stockpiled with guns and, machetes, and this, again, the preemptive strike, they planned for this. Mohammed says live on their borders, integrate with them, lie to them, gain the majority, and then close in the borders.
I mean, what do you think is going to happen whenever groups like, the equivalent, the whatever the European equivalent of Patriot Front goes up against a bunch of these like weird mentally ill freaks in wheelchairs, right? I mean, like this wouldn't really be much of a fight, would it? So, I mean, I don't.
The fight's not with your countrymen. It is with the invaders. Where is the illusion? Where is the illusion that they're not going to fight you? They came to conquer the land. They're not just going home.
I don't think that there's really going to be like a big fight here because one of these this is the other issue, right? Is that one of these groups of people, the only reason why people like this are alive is because it's illegal to kill them. This is the reason. And fundamentally, if you actually had a war, these people would get killed instantly. They would be killed instantly because that's.
These people are a net negative to society. This is a taxpayer burden to keep people like this alive.
That's what's happened in every other society in human history. This is just the way it is. And I think this is the way it is for a lot of things. And people don't realize how much the laws and the adherence to the laws create the society that we have. Do you really think that people would put up with this? Like, if you took all the rules away, what do you think would happen to these people? They would immediately get attacked. They'd immediately be maimed, and if not killed, right? This is what would happen instantaneously. This, like, live and let live mentality doesn't work.
I think their own parents would beat them. I mean, if they have any type of decent conservative parents, they would beat the shit out of this person. Like, why would you want your child to ever grow up like this? Like, I mean, not beat them, but like, show some type of disciplinary action that prevents this.
If somebody decides that it doesn't work. And so that's it. Dies people in night 40? Yeah, exactly.
Right, because again, if in the case they didn't, these children would grow up into society and people, that walk the streets would beat the shit out of them. You can't walk around like a fucking, weirdo.
Exactly. They have no idea what they're asking for. You understand you're physically in this group parameters, right? You're trying to make like an argument that, well, I don't really think this is, I mean, anybody can hold a gun, right? I mean, like, this is the reality. Like, anybody can hold a gun and they'd be able to do that. These people are profoundly mentally ill. Like, this isn't about, are you trying to make, like, an insult towards me because, like, I'm skinny or something like that? Is that what you're trying to do? I just want to understand what your point of view is. How does that work? Yeah, like, what do you mean by that? Yeah, what does that mean? German fuck.
Websites your competitors don't want you to know.
All right, let's take a look at this fucking scumbag.
And so they definitely should have gotten rid of this person, right? And I think that's really what it is. Put half of it in your fridge. Yeah, sure. What an example. I'm just saying. And all right, guys, I'm de-radicalized. You can trust me and let me go. Well, all of these systems and everything are created by a bunch of people that never have to experience the consequences from them. So from their point of view, this seems like it's totally fine because
there it is. That's the terminology of the day. Suicidal empathy.
because there's never going to be a point where any of this bad stuff happens to them. So let's take a look at a few more of these here. Diversity strikes again. German citizen with Lebanese background is accused of ramming his van into a crowd in Pride, Berlin, killing one person and severely injuring others. Almost 30.
It was a van, not a truck. Like I said, I heard a little bit about this earlier.
People, by the way, 29 people. And so this is born in Berlin. Let me see here. Germany identified him as an Islamist threat, so they had him arrested in Lebanon and flew him back to Germany and put him on trial for plotting terror attacks. He was convicted and sentenced to terrorism offenses in May 2026, but released on time served. By July 2026, he was back on the streets. So this dude, like, German authorities told him to...
It is your own politicians, your own polices, your own judges, which are sabotaging you. It's like the same thing with the guy who killed the Ukrainian girl. He had 70-something charges prior to his murder of the Iranian girl. And he's going to get away. If we haven't followed that case, he is going to be deemed unfit to serve trial, and he will be, back on the street and, probably on the street right now. Who knows? I haven't followed it, but he's probably out there sleeping on a bus somewhere.
10 de-radicalization counseling sessions. He responded by carrying out a jihadist terrorist attack on the Pride Parade. This can't be real. This is Germany, right? And you ask yourself, if they don't stop this, they're going to get another Hitler. It's going to happen. It's obvious that this is what's going to happen. People are becoming so radical.
This is where I kind of disagree. I feel that it might be worse. Now, I think almost like the best case scenario, an authoritarian coming out of the World War to save Germany might be a good thing. But I feel, and again, maybe it's just my view from the American, is again, we look at the food, we look at the water, the population is just degrading over time. We're all addicted to our phones. Are we too gone? Are we too gone to actually fight?
Radicalized and so angry that they are getting to the point where I think they will elect anybody who's crazy. They will elect anybody who will stop this in any way. And I think they need to realize this before it's too late, because I don't think that's going to be a good thing. If you elect another psycho to run the government and that gets rid of all these people, it's not.
It has to be done now. If we wait 2 more years, 5 more years, 10 more years, the water only gets hotter. And again, it is like a pressure chamber. It is going to explode one day. And it will just be death. It will be death on both sides.
Not going to end there. It will not end there. There is a very, very reasonable perspective of getting terrorists out of the country and keeping them gone and not giving these people second chances. There is an extremely easy, and by the way, another Hitler will be infinitely worse than the first one. The first Hitler was before nuclear bombs, and it was before the massive industrialization of warfare. Now, if you had somebody that did that, it would be probably 10 times worse, if not even worse than that. So, and that's not even counting if other countries join in on that perspective too. And so that's it. What do you think about AfD? I don't really know a lot about German politics. I mean, it seems like that would be the party I'd vote for, but I don't really know a lot about them to have a, like an opinion on it, right? I don't know. So there's no realistic world where it would get to close to that point, though. I don't really know why you think that. Why do you think that it would not get close to that point? Because I'm going to give you a couple of other points on the graph, right? Duarte was basically like a Hitler person, right? I mean, he kind of was. He was not that bad, but he was pretty bad. And you had Bukele in El Salvador that did that. I think that once a society gets bad enough, you do have people that are more than willing to accept these extremely radical solutions to things. And I think you can look at the number of countries, whether it's the Philippines or El Salvador, as examples of what will be done in order to solve that problem. And I think also Donald Trump in 2024 was another minor example of that, right? Like, you have to remember that Donald Trump, like the idea of mass deportations and deporting everybody, like the whole families can be deported together. This is something that would have lost you an election 10 years ago. And nowadays it wins you an election. So I think that people very, very dramatically underestimate the capacity that the average person has for profound evil. I think that really, like, all you need to do is look at history and every page in history. You have to remember that people brought their children to watch lynchings. People used to do Salem witch trials as a religious event. We used to have slaves. We would have people as, like ornaments and decorations in the Roman Empire, right? Like, the entirety of human history is proving, I think, one specific thing is that evil is extremely commonplace, and all you need to do is just simply let it manifest. That's literally all there is to it. Another Hitler like Donald Trump, well, you just go back and ban that guy. I don't even want to try to I don't want to try to explain things to you because
it is just tiring to keep going over these same people that are just TDS.
you're not trying to understand them. There's no reason to even do that. And so Trump supporters stopped talking to Bukele ever since they found out he was Palestinian. I don't think that's true. No, I didn't. He's Palestinian? Like, I didn't even know that. Like, what does that have to do with anything? So anyway, Trump doesn't have concentration camps. Well, no, he doesn't. But Hitler didn't at the beginning either. I think that's generally what happens. Is that, and I'm not saying Trump is Hitler, but what my point is that people will vote for an extreme solution, and the extreme solution will not have. It won't be overnight. I mean, like, it's not going to happen instantaneously. It will happen, like, first you elect somebody, and then slowly things become more and more extreme over time, right? And I think that's what happens. What would today's country do? What would today's country leader do for you to consider him or her being like a Hitler? Well, I think Hitler was bad because of the death camps and the Holocaust. I think that's what really made Hitler bad. And then the invading other, generally friendly countries for no other reason than to take their resources. Yeah, I would say that probably the Holocaust was like, that was the bad one, right? I mean, like, that's it. I mean, if the guy just ran Germany and he was an asshole, I think that there's plenty of assholes that run countries that are, like, just keeping to themselves, right? Like Pol Pot fucking ran China and killed a bunch of people in China, but people don't think about it the same way because he generally just stayed in China, right? It's the same as tons of other dictators around the world, like, Kim Jong-un. People don't look at Kim Jong-un as evil as Hitler because, number one, he's not doing, Cambodia, there's another one, right? And so Cambodia, excuse me. Yeah, not China. I was thinking of Mao, but yeah, Pol Pot was Cambodia. And there's other examples too, excuse me. And so the point is that a lot of these people, like, the evil of it really is that they export the ideology to everyone else, right? I think that's the main thing. And Mao doesn't look back badly because he killed his own.
So, well, I guess we got the idea that another Muslim attack. I was just scrolling here and I found this. This is 9. Oops, I didn't get it there. Sorry, ball player. This is 9 years ago.
Yesterday's attack in Berlin also energizing critics of European immigration policies, specifically that recent influx of refugees from nations like Syria. And despite the concerns even back in 2015 that ISIS could infiltrate the population, this is what we're hearing from German Chancellor Angela Merkel.
Wir haben so vieles geschafft, wir schaffen das, können das schaffen und wir schaffen das.
Wir schaffen das, da bin ich ganz fest davon überzeugt.
Und für mich selbstverständlich ist, dass man an eine neue Aufgabe so rangeht, dass man erstmal sagt, wir schaffen das. Wir haben so vieles geschafft.
So, I mean, this is 9 years ago. But, I'm an old man. I can tell you that I have been witnessing this, and again, the start of this in Sweden 30-something years ago. I mean, you need to learn the history. Learn about the Ottoman Empire. Learn about the Crusades. Learn about the barbarous pirates. Learn about the Moors. Learn at the defensive strikes Christian took to save their homeland. Why are we inviting the invaders? For 1,400 years, they've waged war against Israel. 1,400 years, they have been waging war against Israel. These people's aggression does not stop. You can say it's not all nations, but there is a secret society of Islamic people that will always call for death of Israel, and death of Christians, and death of everyone. The Quran itself is the submission to Allah, the slavery of Allah. We are all destined to follow that religion or oppose it.
Homes in order to put refugees in
This
their
just
homes.
blows my
So
mind that the
Angela Merkel
message has
knows
been
that she is in
sent
trouble and she needs to
9
turn
years
around
ago.
really fast
And look at
if she wants
this.
to be reelected.
Larry, is it
Look
fair
at
that they're coming
this.
forward to say they're
Wild.
calling
This
these,
was
quote,
9
Merkel's dead,
fucking
these people
years
who lost
ago.
their lives
And they're
Thursday in the market,
flooding.
were injured.
Flooding
Is
your
it fair to
country.
say that? Is it overstating it?
Do you not see it? You are replaceable.
Was a refugee or whether he or she was born in the country. It's just like the massacre we had down in Orlando. That was a Native American. We've got terrorism all the time. The young man who was just convicted of going into an African American church and killing people. Terrorism is a tactic. You're not going to get rid of it.
But ISIS doesn't come forward and claim responsibility for things like the horrific, tragic Charleston shooting. But they do encourage these kinds of vehicular attacks. In their own magazine in November 2016, that's what they called for.
They call for vehicle attacks.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
Ironic.
Their narrative. And what they're doing is, because we're beating them, we've killed something like 50,000 of them in the Middle East. They're going into these other areas to show they're still relevant and to attract more recruits. But remember, was this a lone wolf? Was this for somebody who was reading the magazine, or did they train him? You have people get inspired by all kinds of things to do these things. But something Merkel said that you didn't show, she said, we can't give in to the fear, because if we do, they win. And they had information about these Christmas markets. They were warned something might happen. Why they didn't do it, I don't know.
Well, Brigitte, we know that there are cities all over the world, including New York City. I've seen a very heavy.
Well, there's a solution to attacks on Christmas markets and Christmas parades. Don't celebrate Christmas.
Presence on the streets here, they do what they can, but short of shutting down our Western way of life, how do we avoid innocent people getting caught up in attacks like this? When does it stop?
Well, at this time, the radicals are feeling empowered. They are not stopping because now they are able to carry their own jihad, basically sitting in front of the internet, learning how to put a bomb under your mother's kitchen, or how to use a machete to basically kill people, or how to drive a truck into a busy market. And as a matter of fact, the market in Germany, they had barricaded the street. He went around the barricade and over the sidewalk in order to kill people. So it is becoming...
Wow. Are you telling me a stone barricade didn't stop a truck? They drove around it?
Very challenging to detect these things, but this is where the American public and public in general plays a major role in being...
We know you.
Well, I will leave you that thought in your mind. I pray it gets better. But this, again, like the video, Asmon Gold's video said, Europe is cooked. It's a nice little song here. God bless.
say